Hello humans, this is Random Facade and welcome to the Random channel. Today we're going to be playing Medieval Fantasy Rogue's Choice Chapter 14, Never Tell Me the Odds. We are doing the best choices of this chapter. We already played the chapter, you can go check that out. And let's get it. This was the correct choice, the Demon Argos. As I guessed, if you attack these two, the Argos will immediately attack you and you will lose life. So let's go with Demon Argos again. This was the correct choice, slide underneath to close in. This was the correct choice. Press your attack. I do believe I pressed my attack last time, right? Let me read this. Your sword ignites with divine light and you nearly leap out your hand as you... Yeah, I already read this. So this was indeed the correct choice. So in this one, all of them are shitty options, but I did the best choice there was. That is throw your dagger. It doesn't actually get you anything, but doesn't take anything away. The other two options do take away life or morale. So we'll just go throw with dagger as we did before. It didn't really do anything because, you know, the Dark Elf had like force field around him. I'm just noticing there's not many choices in the chapter. I mean, I went through like, just now I went through like 5 pages of pure text before I got to this page which has a choice. Anyway, this was the correct choice. Offer your guide services. We did the middle of the line choice, the especially ones in plate mail, which did give me achievement, but the best choice is yes I do miss, yes I do, even though that sounds quite pathetic. But in the middle one, especially ones in plate mail, I got kneed in the balls, so it's probably better to go with yes I do miss, yes I do. But she believes me a weak-minded fool, you think. The Dark Elf underestimated you, and it cost him his bodyguard. Granted, it did not seem to bother him much. Nevertheless, you shall use the same strategy with the succubus, just like you did with the last. So long as they think you're a useful tool, they will not throw you away. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. You whisper, faking awe at her, which isn't really faking since she's extremely fetching. You could tell, she says in a whisper. I can always tell. Holy shit, look at this choice, dude. So Azazel is not a good choice, and as I guessed as much, Kriya is not a good choice because she's a bitch. I went with Egra, which she did help me, but it is hilarious. Look at this shit. If I don't go with Egra, which I will revert the choice and go back with Egra. But I want to read one choice, that is Old Man Blithers. Apologies, Old Man Blithers. I'm gonna have to use you in this situation. Old Man Blithers, gross. Ew, you had to go there. I hope it was worth it. Let's see. Best to keep with what you have practice with. You clamp your eyes shut and with all your concentration you focus on your most dampening memory of Old Man Blithers. Because he was the thief master of your district, you had many occasions where you had to see him about this or that. On one such occasion he was fully nude, picking at scabs on his legs, smearing his own saliva on oozing sores. Heals flesh worms better and anything, he said as he looked up from his wound tending with glassy eyes, his few teeth showing in a self-satisfying grin. He then spits again, a long stringy one, directly onto his pogged wrinkled leg. As the lips of the succubus touch your own, you are swiftly filled with a terrible longing. Again you focus on the memory of Old Man Blithers, but he's becoming better looking even in your memory, and then more feminine. That's ridiculous. Love me, comes a voice inside your head. No, you think as you summon the worst memories of Blithers and invent new ones. Blithers, maggots, pus-filled maggots festing and squirming out of Blithers' rectum. That's so fucking disgusting, dude. Uninterrupted consciousness seeps into you. The succubus does not like your resistance. I'm fighting, I'm winning, I'm beating her. The thought of Vanessa breaking a mental wall and the terrible longing returns, grown into her mouth, not something you normally do when kissing. The hunger inside you is Vanessa's doing, of course. Starting as a child, I think I've read this. Yeah, I've read this. Love me, worms. I think this is the last one. Love me, worms, as a succubus. And this is when our mind is almost about to break, and then Egra should jump in. Yep, Egra jumped in. Yeah, once in this and that. Don't forget I've taught you, champion, says Egra, this and that. Yeah. So we read all this. So that was very interesting with the Old Man Blithers and all that. I'm kind of confused now. Should I just go with Old Man Blithers ending? Because like it was technically just good enough. And why should I even bother like begging to Egra? Yeah, I think I'm gonna with Old Man Blithers. Let's continue with Old Man Blithers. That's fucking good. Oh man, and we don't actually have to beg to Egra with all this bullshit. So I think this was the good one. Egra will help us regardless. So I think this is the good one. This is the correct option. The information is important to Azazel. This was not the best choice. I decided to give it to Vesa, which lost her 3 life. I think that was the worst option. Yeah, that was the worst option. I think the best option is to destroy it. For some reason we want to destroy it. I think the only reason I can think of is why our character was trying to destroy the scroll, is so that Vesa we could have like a, since we already read the scroll, we would have like a bargaining chip with Azazel for what is in the scroll. Let's destroy it. A secret is only valuable if it remains a secret, you think? How do you destroy it? The best option here is to throw it into the fire. Remembering how water was repelled from paper you've seen in this chamber thus far, the fire seems like a better bet. Holding the very end, you thrust the scrolls into the flames. Quickly it lights up. Fool, shouts Vanessa. You dare defy me? He draws a sword from the scabbard of a belt. It is a dark blade that seems to suck at the light near it. You will not harm him, shouts Varen. Drop the burning remnants of the scroll into the fire. Now I'm the only one who knows where Nuxis is, you say as you look pointedly at Phobe. The girl stares back at you, her eyes unreadable. Such a shame that I have only Vesa to share my secret with. That is a strange thing to say, says Vesa suspiciously. Oh, we said that so that she doesn't get suspicious that I've broken through her spell. I mean, that is understandable, but yeah, she should be suspicious. That's kind of weird thing to say. And after that, the bloody gem exploded. But this time I should not get peppered by gemstones. Life decreases 1 this time. Is it the same thing? Yeah, it's the same thing, but just life decreases less in this choice. That's pretty good. This was the correct choice. Go for your weapons. This was the wrong choice. Charge the closest demon, which didn't do us any good. So let's retreat to the corner, which we had to do eventually anyway. It is clear these demons are accustomed to working together, no doubt flanking their enemy. You will not make that easy for them. Quickly you back up, keeping your blade in front of you. The front demon's smile fades a little as you settle into your defensive position, deep enough into the corner to not allow you to be in circles, yet not so tight as to restrict the swing of your sword. The smile on the demon in the back gets wider as he raises his clawed hand, closes it into a fist and disappears. From what you understand, invisibility is a common enough spell, so you would not be surprised if that's what it did. On the other hand, you had heard stories of some demons enjoying teleportation. If the latter, could it appear behind you? I think I've seen this one. I've always had a question. I think someone, I don't remember which channel it was. There was a YouTube channel that I was watching, and they were discussing like how if you became like invisible, then there wouldn't be no light coming into whatever suit you're wearing to become invisible. And if that situation, you wouldn't be able to see, just like nobody else can see you, because the light is supposed to enter your your eyeballs. If it doesn't enter your eyeballs, then you wouldn't be able to see. And if it did enter your eyeballs, then it would reflect, and the enemy will be able to see your eyes. And that's why it just doesn't quite work. So that's why I think these spells have some manner of different form of invisibility rather than the more scientific type. The best choice here is to turn around for a moment. You turn just as a ghostly figure whips into the corner, then solidifies into a blood-dripping material body. Your sword is in motion as the beast takes full shape. This demon's smug expression turns to fear as your blade slashes into his flesh with a hiss. The wounded demon leaps back, caustic blood spilling and frothing on the wet floor. His back is now against the corner. He closes his fist again as you stab to what ought to be his heart. He turns to shadow, shoots through you. Your blade stabs through the air, sparks against the wall. You spin around to face forward. The other demon is closer now, his eyes filled with hatred, shouting something that might be a curse in his old language. Shadow flints to his side and materializes. A gout of fresh blood falls. Yeah, I think I already read all this. Okay. In my eyes, this is the best choice. Exaggerate your injury, which I did. But technically, if you go for just points, charge would be a better option, apparently. They expect the weak mortal to cower in pain, not this mortal. Demon's Bane, you shout as you charge forward. The fiend's eye widens in surprise as he flings another spatter of corrosive blood. Droplets burn your chest, one drop hisses into your neck, yet you push through. The demon drops his one shoulder and raises the other, a signal to you that he is going to dive to the side. You stab your blade in his side in anticipation. It's perfect. Your blade ignites in white fire as it pierces into his chest and punches out his back. He screams in pain. Your blade sizzles as the noxious blood of the beast spills over it. You try to pull your sword out, but the demon grabs the blade, his mouth locked in a determined grimace. So I think we got one. Meanwhile, you catch movement in your peripheral vision. What do? This was the correct choice. Abandon your sword. I mean, I think if we just go off of... No. Morale gives you 30 points and life gives you 10, right? So I think if you just go for points, I think pull your dagger out and stab into the skewered demon's eye should be the correct option. But I think I'm just gonna abandon the sword again because that seems way better, because I don't exactly remember the point system again. Should I just go with this one, considering it would get me more points, I think. So let's go with this one since it will get me more points. You already read that one anyway. Keep it, you say as you leave your sword embedded in the demon's chest. When sheath your dagger, drive it into the demon's eye. There's a blur in your peripheral vision. Instinctively leap to the side as the other demon lashes at you. His long claws of his one hand catch you on your side, ripping flesh. Now weaponless you run. I think we already read all this. Yeah, it's the same thing, just a little bit of a difference. We just start from this one, the sound of splashing and hissing. If we do the abandoned sword, this one I get morale because morale gives you more points. So I think this is good. So in this one I did focus on prompting of your sword, which was bad because the sword did detect the demon, but it tried to detect Azazel instead of Vesa, which we were trying to go for. So look for signs of Vesa's movement. We're gonna go for that. We should look at the water or something. Aside from the blurring you saw, the thin layer of water on the floor ought to give a clue. See, this is what I was talking about last time as well, that the water is the key. Sure enough, you catch splashes and ripples coming from the side, along with the sound of clanking armor. What do? I really don't like the options where I don't prefer going just for points. I like to, I like to go for the ones that just are feel good, and I prefer more. And this option, I think, stand and fight with your sword, would technically lead for a more it would lead for a more giving more points. It's 2 morale, negative 4 life. 4 life negative would mean 40 points reduced, but 2 morale would be 60 points, so I net gain 20 points. But I think I'm just gonna run and evade the best I can, because that's the one I chose before, and these are the ones that I prefer. I think I don't like the choice that I made earlier as well, the charge one, or the abandon your sword one is one should I have picked up instead of skewering the demon's eye as well. I don't like these, and I don't know why I decided to do these this time. I usually don't just go for points. So anyway, I will just go with the one we went with last time, which I personally think is the best choice. Run and evade the best you can. This was the correct choice. Try to use the pool to escape. This is kind of cringe, but apparently explore your surrounding by touch was a good option. But I think I'm gonna pray to Egra because that gives more points, even though I don't quite like Egra, but compared to everyone else, she's so far the best. So let's pray to Egra. You've never been one to pray to gods, although that's probably because you never heard of God that you were particularly fond of, aside from Tichys, the fickle god of luck. However, Egra, and you need to remember that gods are actual beings in this world, so it's not like our world where, people like atheists like me exist. In this world, it wouldn't make sense for anyone to. Someone could say that they don't like the gods, that's understandable, but you cannot deny the existence of gods like we do in our world. In this one, we know that gods exist. I mean, to what extent the gods exist? Obviously, to me, they will always be just lords, like really powerful beings, so I would normally just prefer to call them lords instead of gods. But okay, or being X if I'm Tanya the evil. So let's pray. Aside from Tichys, the fickle god of luck, however, Egra, despite all the horrible things she did to you, probably the closest thing to a god you can relate to. Egra, I've never been one to pray to gods. You whisper into the darkness. Well, aside from Tichys, god of luck. Yet who does not pray to him? You clear your throat. What I mean is, despite all the horrible things you did to me, you're the closest I have to a god I can relate to. If you hear me, I hope for once you will not mock me, although it is an easy thing to do. To mock a sincere man, I mean. Taking a deep breath, you listen. Far off, there's whispered words. It's not Egra, you know that much. A pit of fear wells up in your bones. And you continue more hurriedly now. I know you are not good nor merciful, yet I never knew you to be excessively cruel. I pray that you will see in your heart to aid your humble champion, so that I might see your will done, whatever that is. That is such a good prayer. I really like this prayer. I thought he was gonna go like, oh man, please help me out or something, some cringy bullshit like that. You know what? I quite like that prayer. Does my champion miss me too? Comes a voice. It is so faint, you wonder if you're imagining it. You feel a warmth inside, pulling back some of the chill, infusing you with a feeling of hope, even an upwelling of joy. I knew you love me more than any other, she says. It is Egra, it's her voice. You think to yourself, I miss your jokes, even the ones at my expense, you say in the darkness. Come back to me. Be vigilant, says Egra. Oblivion comes for you now. Survive, and you may live to be taunted again. Do you feel the presence leave? Oblivion comes for me. You think. Fear returning. You suck in a breath and listen. Yep. This is where the Thog monster comes in. This was much cute. I mean, I don't think there's a problem with servitude. But, the other party should exist and actually give you something. You know, just it's like a serving as like a king. If you're a knight, you serve the king. If you're someone else in an administrative position, you serve a lord. It's kind of like that. So to me, the gods are just, well, lords in this world, very strong beings. Because we already know they're not gods. Otherwise, they wouldn't have a competition. Like if it's, let's say, Aletheia was actually a god, then it's better that you just, if what is it called? Fucking. If you're a god, you would actually just be overpowered because you'd be omnipotent, ever present, all knowing, and all powerful. Then why are there multiple gods? It wouldn't really make sense. So that goes to show they're not actually gods, just really powerful beings. So that's how it is. And this was not the correct option. Draw your sword. From the point standpoint, this was the correct option because draw your sword will give you morale, which is worth more than life. But again, I don't like to get beat the shit out of. And my feel-good option would make me choose attempt to move away from the water. In your experience, Thog seems to be fond of water. You, on the other hand, human as you are, do far better on land. You move away from the water, taking care as best you can to not trip in the dark while not making haste. Soon there is much more splashing and it is getting rapidly closer. You fumble for the hilt of your sword, find it, and draw your weapon. Still no glow. Give me light, you whisper. Dig deep and find your noble spirit. Comes a deep, rich voice. The voice may have been from the sword or maybe in your head. That's kind of... This is the first time the sword has actually spoken to us. I do believe it has a sword. It has a spirit apart from Aletheia. It is giving this thing power. The slapping sound behind, like the sound of a butcher slapping an animal's flesh down on his table. Is this thing emerging from the water? I'm digging, you cry. Trying to focus on the noblest part of your spirit, whatever that might be. You even shut your eyes, not that it matters. A light appears behind your eyelid, and you open your eyes to see your sword awash in white flame. You squint past the fire and see the horror approaching you. Sliding across the stone floor in a tentacled horror, appearing to the godling you have fought, similar to the godling you have fought earlier. It is not the godling though. Yet this one has embedded in its spongy flesh a familiar face. It is the high priestess of Thog you and Avis slew. Although her eyes are shut, you recognize her beyond doubt. Her mouth is open in agony. It slithers forward, powered by its tentacles. What do you do? This was not the correct choice. The correct choice was attack. I went on the defensive. I should have attacked. Hoping that the light of his sword has blinded the beast, at least temporarily you charge. A tentacle swings, but it is poorly aimed blow. You duck it as it whistles overhead, not breaking stride. How fast are these things going that is whistling as it moves? With a mighty overhead chop, you cleave the face of the monster, sinking the flaming sword deep into the loathsome flesh. The monster convulses and slithers away with amazing speed. Okay, shit, holy shit, this went way better. Last time we were fighting it, and this time I literally slashed it to the point of just immediately it went into the water. And this is the same what we read. It just went in the water and spilled some bullshit in there so that we can follow and all that. Fucking hell, this went way better. So the middle two ones are death ones. She will actually kill us if we say the middle two ones. I went with the mundane one, which is Castle Eggrain. I think the best option here is Somewhere to Disappear. Nice deduction. You observe and choose wisely. Rekka might be thankful to you for destroying Argos the demon, but she is still an agent of Harsruda here. She needs to believe that you're not going to cause any trouble to her if she sets you free. Somewhere to disappear, you say. I don't want any kind of trouble for you or your kind. Rekka is silent. The sound is dripping water and gentle splashing in what must be the puddle surrounding her. Finally, she says, "It is good and wise of you to consider us." Have you already read all this? Yeah, it's the same thing. Okay. I think that's it, yeah. And we went with that. There we go. 800 points. I would have I've gotten less points if I had more life, but I think I would have preferred to choose some of the other options that I did, because this is the run where I chose some options that were just point based, some options that were feel good based, and to me I would just prefer to go for the feel good ones because you always end up getting more than what is needed anyway. So I might as well choose the options that I like instead of the other ones. And I think that's what I'm going to do from this point onward. This is the strat that I'm going to be going for instead of what I normally do and chase points. Thank you so much for watching. There's a link in the description to my Twitter and my Patreon. There's a link in the description to the game. There's also a link to the background music that is playing throughout the Let's Play. There's also a link to the walkthrough that I was reading off of for only this video. I don't read off the walkthrough. I just play it on my own, and I use the walkthrough then when I go do the best choices. So the link to that, not made by me, by the way. The link to leads to whosoever wrote it. and you can check that out. Thank you so much for listening. Just like the video and share it if you can, and subscribe as always. Bye bye. See you in the next one.